If you're a nursing student and you're about to start your clinical nursing placements and you're wondering how on earth you're going to get through the next couple of weeks, then don't stress, you're in the right place. This video is for you. If you're new here, hi, my name is Charlotte. I'm a registered nurse and I just wanted to say a big thank you to Lakmal Singh 837 for suggesting this video. If you have a video that you want me to make, please leave it down in the comments and I will do my best to try and add it to my filming schedule. Before we get into everything, don't forget to like, subscribe, do all of that good stuff, but for now, let's dive right in. So your clinical placements can be some of the most terrifying and exciting parts of your nursing degree. You'll feel nervous and stressed because you are going into an environment where you don't yet have the skills and experience to be able to reassure yourself, but it is also incredibly exciting and you'll feel proud and fulfilled because this is the part where you actually start learning and you actually start living that nurse life. So in order to make sure that you make the most of your placement and you don't burn yourself out and also help you survive and thrive through the next few weeks, here are my top tips. So we'll start with before your placement. My first tip is if you get any information or pre-reading prior to your placement, definitely go through it thoroughly, sit down and complete it all because there is a reason that they'll have sent it to you, and it will also help you feel a little bit more prepared and confident about starting your placement. I have personal experience of this for my diabetes placement. I got sent a bunch of pre-readings to do and also was encouraged strongly to start on doing the NZ-SSD diabetes course. I did all of the pre-readings and it honestly helped me understand much quicker about what was going on when I was actually on placement, and it helped me feel more reassured and confident about walking into it. My second tip is if you are wanting to plan a holiday, do not plan it around your placement times. Firstly, because your placement will not give you time off to go on holiday and you may have to redo the placement, which can push finishing your degree back a little bit. I would personally recommend booking your holidays and trips in the semester breaks or even during the semester when you don't have any placements. You can do everything online, meaning that you don't have to go into uni for any exams or lectures or lab sessions. Those will be the two main times to go on holiday, not during your placements. And then the last thing that I would really recommend doing before you start your placement is taking the time to sit down and organize the next couple of weeks. And when I say organize it, I mean doing something like making some weekly or daily to-do lists, or list everything that you need to get done, everything that's upcoming, due dates and everything, keep it all in one place. Other thing that you can do is calendar blocking. If you guys would like me to make a video about calendar blocking, let me know in the comments because I can do that. Being organized and prepared is the best way you can set yourself up for success during your placements. So yeah, to-do lists, calendar blocking, if you've got a planner, just making sure that you know when things are due, when you are going to be working and doing stuff, and when you've got free time to be able to relax, see friends, study and work on your assessments. Being prepared beforehand just means that you've got one less thing to do. You're not stressed about trying to figure out how to cram everything in, and you'll just be more prepared and better set up for the next couple of weeks. So we'll move on to during your placement. So the first thing that I would do is prepare your bag, your uniform, everything that you need the night before, because during your placements you'll want to get as much sleep as possible. If you've got everything prepared the night before, it just means that you've got one less thing to worry about. You just wake up, it's already laid out on your chair, you can just quickly get dressed out the door, and it just means that you can actually sleep in for as long as possible as well. The second thing that I would do is when you go to placement, one of the first things you should be doing is figuring out where they keep all of their policies and procedures. The reason why I say to find this out as quickly as possible is because it's about protecting yourself. If you know where all of the policies and procedures are kept, it means when you get asked to do certain procedures, if you're asked to do an infusion or a wound dressing, injection, whatever it may be, you know exactly what you're meant to be doing and what order you're meant to be doing it in. And it also just means because you've now got this knowledge, you also will know when people are asking you you to work outside of your scope, and you can firmly decline to do that. That protects you and also letting you advocate for yourself. The other thing, which I think I've mentioned a couple of times in my videos, is to have a little pocket-sized notebook which you can carry around with you. It really helped me jot down all of my questions, anything new that I came across, any words or procedures and stuff that I didn't know what they were. So my next tip is to ask as many questions as you possibly can, even if you feel like you're being annoying or you're asking too many questions.
That's not true.
You can never ask too many questions. You're literally there on your placement to learn. The only way you're going to learn is by being inquisitive. If anybody has an issue with you asking questions,
that's a them problem to deal with.
I also found that the more questions that I asked during my placements, the more impressed the nurses were with me. So ask as many questions as possible, because the worst that can happen is they say, "Oh, I'm really sorry, I don't know." My other thing that I would definitely do is to save your clinical educator, your placement coordinators and your charge nurses' mobile or phone numbers and emails to your phone. And this just means that you can easily reach them or contact them if you need any support. So in the worst case scenario, let's say that you have an issue with one of your nurse preceptors or a nurse that you've been assigned to follow. Don't be afraid to bring this up with your clinical educator or the charge nurse. Your placement is your time for learning, and if your nurse or your nurse preceptor is making it difficult for you to do this, it's up to you to bring this up and advocate for yourself, because the reality is that nobody else is going to do it for you. It is up to you to be your biggest advocate and supporter. This means if you have an issue with somebody that you've been assigned to, you are the one that's responsible for sorting it out. I just want to reassure you that all of the nurse preceptors you get will be the most loveliest people in the world. Nurse preceptors have to do a preceptorship course and training, which they choose to do. So if your nurse preceptor is your preceptor, it's most likely because they want to be a preceptor. They are interested in helping, new grads and students do their best and learn. Most of them will be so lovely and really want you to succeed and learn. They will encourage you to do things. So don't stress too much about it. I just bring this tip up for the worst case scenario, because it does happen. Sometimes you get stuck with somebody that you and your personalities don't match. Yeah, be your biggest advocate. If you've got issues with somebody, bring it up with your preceptor, charge nurse, your clinical educator. So my next tip is to dedicate one day where before or after your shift, you spend just 1 hour working on any assignments, any revision or study that you have to do. If you try and do an hour after your shift or before your shift every day, you will burn out. If you do any less than 1 hour, 1 day a week, you may start to feel a bit stressed because you'll start to feel like you're falling behind a little bit. So for nursing placements, most of them will be 4 to 5 days a week, which gives you 2 to 3 days off a week. So I would try and make sure that at least one of your days is dedicated to majority rest. So obviously there are going to be times where you cannot have the full day to rest and relax and kind of recover. But if you can get at least 50% of your day just to kind of not do much, just kind of take it easy and chill, that will set you up in the long run and help you not burn out. My other tip is, if you are like me and you have to work during your placement,
I cannot stress how much I recommend this.
Saving up your sick days and your annual leave for your placements. It's a bit of a sacrifice because it means you don't have a lot for things like holidays and stuff, but your placements can be really intense because they are a consistent thing for anywhere between 3 to 10 weeks long. They can be really long shifts as well. You'll be learning every second of your shift, so it can be a little bit mentally draining, and also your social battery as well, because you're dealing all the time with people and different types of people too, and you're also having to work. It can be really tough. Sometimes you just have to make the sacrifice to decide, I have to use my leave or some of my sick days in order to look after myself and make sure that I have time to rest and recover during my placement. So that's what I did. In my 10-week placement, I used all of my leave, all of my sick days and everything that I had left on that placement. It was a lifesaver, because if I had tried to go the full 10 weeks of just working non-stop, doing 5 days placement, 2 days working, I literally would have died. Saving your leave and your sick days is really important if you're working for your placement, just to make sure that you're not burning out and that you have time to recover. It's about respecting yourself. So onto my really basic advice that is basic but is also arguably like the most important stuff, and I am really firm about this because it's my experience. And so the first thing is healthy eating while you're on your placement. So during my first ever placement on the general medicine ward, that's kind of when my mental health started to spiral, and one of the reasons for that was because I was not feeding my body and my cells the stuff that it needed. Look, I kid you not, literally like 4 or 5 days a week I was having like McDonald's takeaways, really sugary stuff, things from the vending machines, because I hadn't organized myself to meal prep, and as a result my body had no energy. Like even when I had got a full night's sleep and everything, I found the placements that I was doing that much more harder. Healthy eating is really important, and I would recommend meal prepping all of your meals for your placements at least on your day off or whenever you have free time that works for you to be able to cook. This just means that, again, when you're waking up in the morning or just before your shift, you can just grab a meal out of the fridge, put it in your bag, you're sorted for your shift, and you know what's in the food, you know what you've cooked. I'm not a dietitian, but these are the 4 things that I recommend you focus on for your meal prepping. So the first is protein, because it's long-lasting energy and it also helps with muscle repair. With your placements, you're on your feet all day. It's actually quite taxing physically. Having protein in your food to help with your muscle repair, help you stay strong, really important. If you're vegetarian or vegan, you can still get protein from things like tofu, soy-based stuff, so just making sure that you've got a nice amount of protein in your prepared meals. The second thing is complex carbohydrates. Carbs and sugar is not evil or bad food. You actually really need them in order to have energy and also to feed your cells. Complex carbohydrates are the carbohydrates that your body takes a while to break down. So these are things like your rice, whole grain foods, pasta, bread, couscous. Your complex carbohydrates, they take a long time to break down, and as a result they give you energy for longer because you kind of get a slower stream of nutrients being pushed through the body, being broken down. Understandably, it's really important when you're on an 8 to 12 hour shift and you need to have energy and food that's going to last you for the duration of your shift. The other thing is some simple sugars. So these are the things, the sugars and the carbohydrates that don't take so long to break down. So that's things like your fruits. They only have a couple of bonds and then the body breaks down, which means that you get a quick burst of energy. If you're feeling a little bit tired, a little bit groggy, having that quick burst is a really good way just to kind of feel a bit more prepped and ready to go before your complex carbohydrates can start kicking in. Even if you can't get fruit, things like your processed sugars, unfortunately also simple sugars, so those give you a quick release of energy. So if you can't get your hands on any fruit or other simple sugars, it is okay to indulge yourself in a chocolate bars just to get you through your shift. It's going to give you that little quick burst of energy and also probably make you feel a bit better mentally because you're having a little treat. That's what I did later on. So with my district nursing, I would make like a really nice meal prepped healthy meal, something like couscous, roast vegetables, and with some chicken and stuff in it. And then I would also bring like a small muesli bar or a chocolate bar, a piece of fruit as like my pick-me-up snack. And then the last kind of food group that I would definitely focus on including in your prepared meals is your fibers, because they keep everything regular, all of your like bowel motions and stuff. Something that people don't think about is that working shifts can tend to make you a little bit bloated and also changes your cycles and your routine because your body is trying to readjust to the new routine. And especially if you're doing a night or an afternoon kind of night shift, that kind of whole routine and system where you're meant to be kind of winding down for the evening but you're actually still running about, awake, alert, trying to look after people, and because you're doing different shifts on different days, it can kind of mess everything up a bit. So fibers to kind of keep everything as regular and healthy as possible, also really important. So that was kind of a little bit of a tangent, but I just wanted to include it because that's one of the things making that change. Something that really helped make my placement experience better was because feeding myself good food meant that I actually had energy to be able to commit to things like studying, learning, doing my assessments, looking after patients properly and not feeling terrible. And the other thing that I would really recommend you do is stay hydrated. If you can get something like this, a huge water bottle, like 1 litre to 2 litres. If you can get more than 2 litres,
Get it?
just something that will last you for your whole shift. You don't have to drink the whole thing, but having it easily accessible is something, again, that will keep you feeling refreshed. It will help your skin, it helps your cycles, your movements, and again gives you that energy to kind of keep going. So stay hydrated, bring a nice large water bottle. The other thing is good sleep. So that's things like making sure your environment is nice and accommodating for sleep. So making sure like no screens right before you go to bed so that you don't have any light affecting your circadian rhythm. Making sure that you're warm, that you have clean, fresh sheets as well is also really important. So that's all like your sleep hygiene stuff. But then in terms of actual sleep, for your afternoon shifts, try and sleep in for as long as you can. Try and get as much sleep as possible. For your morning shifts, when you have a morning shift, try and get a nap after work as well. So get home, get into bed, just have an hour, 2 hour nap, just so that your body can kind of recharge and allow you to keep going for whatever you need to do for the rest of the night. So sleep hygiene stuff really important so that you have good sleep, and then making sure that you get enough sleep combined to having enough energy, feeling refreshed, and being able to kind of conquer your placements. So the other thing that I really recommend doing is trying to get a little bit of movement in each day. I know it can seem like there's just so much that you have to do every day, but if you're going to prioritize anything, I really cannot stress how important it is to prioritize the self-care, because the study and assessments, like,
Let's be honest,
we can cram, we can get all of that done at the last minute if we absolutely need to, whereas taking care of ourselves is an ongoing thing that needs to be paid attention to each day. For me, in my first ever placement, when I was eating terribly, not getting enough sleep, not staying hydrated, I also wasn't doing like any exercise. On my district nursing placement, I felt the best and I had the most energy and no back pain and stuff the next day when I was doing yoga consistently after my shift. Any type of movement is good movement. If you just spend 3 minutes dancing around your bedroom, if you go for a walk after your shift, if you know, go to the gym, whatever it is, as long as you are doing some kind of movement before or after your shift each day, keep yourself healthy and also take care of your body and like your joints, your muscles. Keep yourself flexible and, you know, just give yourself that exercise, which in the long run also lends you more energy as well, because you'll be fitter and healthier. So yeah, try and do some kind of movement every single day before or after your shift. It doesn't have to be like an intense routine, it doesn't have to be for hours and hours, just even like 5 minutes of doing something is good. And then like the last like basic advice is to try and arrange a social catch-up at least once a week. So again, going back to my first ever placement, I for some reason had this mindset that, oh, because I'm on placement I can't see my friends and stuff, I'm like too busy, like I can't do that, I need to placement and then home, like I can't do anything else,
I'm too busy.
So for 5 weeks I didn't see my friends, I didn't see like anybody really. I was just kind of either at placement or at home, and I felt so isolated, so alone. It was probably the loneliest I've ever been in my life. Again, no healthy food, no movement, no staying hydrated, no good sleep, and then also being completely lonely. All of that contributed to that massive mental health spiral that I had in my second year and made the rest of my placements in second year feel kind of terrible. Whereas in my third year, when I was looking after myself, when I wasn't isolating myself and I was actually taking the time just once a week to go out with my friends, do something fun, catch up with them, just take my mind off placements and studying, I felt so much better within myself and my placement experience was so much better. Yeah, arranging catch-ups with your friends is super important. Do not isolate yourself. If you feel like you are too busy, then take something out of your routine to make time for the people in your life, because they are the people that are supporting you through your nursing journey. It's really, really important that you stay connected with people. Staying connected is actually one of the ways to well-being in New Zealand that we've got, mental health ways to well-being. So
it's not just me saying that,
it's also the official like mental health organization. And then my last tip is for after your placement, I would really recommend give yourself a few days just to completely rest and recover from it. If you've got work shifts, try and use some of your leave to take time off, and treat yourself to something nice, whether that's, you know, like a little present for yourself or a coffee, or, you know, going somewhere new. Just do something nice for yourself, because you should be celebrating the fact that you've just gotten through your placement, you've achieved it, and now it's all over and you can just kind of focus on getting the next chapter of your nursing journey done. Try and take a few days to rest and recover, treat yourself to something nice, do something nice for yourself. So that was all of my advice and suggestions on how to survive and thrive through your nursing placement. So I really hope that you found them helpful, and if you have any advice and tips about nursing placements, how to get through them, then please leave them in the comments, because sharing is caring and we want to lift each other up on our nursing journey. Don't forget to like, subscribe, do all of that good stuff. I will see you next Monday with a new video, but until then, have a lovely day and a fabulous week. Bye!
It's rated X. That means you're extra, extra.